What's up, everybody? We are back with another exciting episode of TripleKO, and it's just nonstop news. I feel like we have not slept at all because everything is coming out, and it's coming out in a big storm. It's myself, Justin Wong. We're here with Mr. Matt McMuscles and Mr. Maximilian Dood. I love your shirt, by the way. It's a great
Hi.
shirt.
This is my
Thank you,
This is my
Justin.
favorite Mortal Kombat shirt.
Favorite Mortal Kombat shirt.
My favorite MK
Britney
shirt.
Spears. You know what I mean? Hit me one more time. I get it, Matt.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
You're a Britney stan.
I am.
I love your
But-
Marvel shirt, Matt. It looks amazing.
Thank you.
great.
It's-
Yeah, I love
Britney
Marvel
Spears.
too.
Britney Spears is my favorite Marvel character.
Britney
It's,
Spears
it's
could like
gonna-
fly around. She does chip damage. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be the latest DLC character for the Mortal Kombat mods eventually. You know what I mean?
Yeah, during her intro, she's just like, "It's Britney, bitch." And
Dude,
Yeah, right.
Speaking of Marvel mods, did you see the full ass like Disney crossover? They put like
Mortal Kombat?
like Ice Wonderland, like Frozen shit. And Anna and Elsa are beating the holy god out of each other. I'm like, I want to play this.
It's the hottest Mortal Kombat 1 has been in months.
I know, right? It's so crazy. But before we get to Mortal Kombat, I mean, we have been on a Tekken 8 craze. Like, I feel like this game is great. This game is awesome. And everything about it is still so fun, still so good, still feels amazing. For me, I have been loving just playing rank match, playing all these different modes, learning how to actually punish moves in this game. So to me, I'm still in that, like, this feels like day one to me still, like in terms of the same amount of passion. How about you guys?
Yeah, I've been playing it as much as I possibly can. I feel
Yeah.
like I've played the game a ton, and then I looked at
Right.
my ranked matches, and I have 200. I'm like, that's it. I feel like I've put like 1,000 into this thing, but I think it's just the stress that can come with some of the matches of like, you know, high intensity and stuff. I've only actually got 200 ranked matches. I'm about to get to purple, and I'm like, all right. I have to figure this out. But yeah, like sticking with one character, trying to figure it out for now until I start meandering to other characters.
For me, like I finished the story mode. I did all the character episodes, and these are like I
good.
thought Tekken 5 or Tekken Tag 2, you couldn't really top endings. And I think this collection is on par, if not better. Like they seesaw a little bit, but other than that, I was just like all. So I think Brian's Mad Max ending is like one of the greatest I've ever seen in my life. Like
It's really good.
aside from that, Brian himself is who I put the most time into doing. One thing though, since I guess Tekken 7, since we've had a full-fledged major 3D fighting game, it seems like there's way more content in that almost any character in the game is so complicated and has so much shit. You can just figure them out forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I go around in training mode, I'm just like, yeah, it's been a while. And I didn't play Tekken 7 all that much. Like when there was a new character, a new DLC character, I'd try them out and that was kind of it. But now I'm just like, I think I've fooled around and labbed with like 3 characters since we last talked. Like Reina, Brian, and Jin.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then there's still a bunch more to do. So I'm loving it like myself right now. But Justin, you didn't start the story mode. I want to know what you thought of that.
Okay. I actually lost my shit in story mode. Like,
So it wasn't
the
just
last
me,
chapter.
right?
No, the last chapter, it was just so ham. It was crazy. I was like, it keeps on going and going and going, and
I
I'm
loved
like,
it.
bro, I'm down for if they did it 100 more times, I would still like be down with that. Right? It was just so insane. And yeah, everything about the story was really good. The fact that you have tournaments, like obviously it's Jin's story, but you're able to play other characters. Kind of like a little Tekken Force came back as well too. There was a little of everything, and I thought it was so good. And the after credits scene, man, not gonna say it, but perfect. For me, it was so good.
The moment I do want to talk about, I don't think it's a spoiler because it's just music, but I think both me and Max had the same reaction. I don't know if Justin's was, where it's like at some point you just hear like "da-na-na-na-na-na," and then you hear Jin's Tekken 3 theme, and I didn't think that was real. I was like, oh, that sounds like Jin's Tekken 3 theme. Moving on, like focus on the fight, but then I'm like, it is his Tekken 3 theme. And that little moment, like, a lot of people have said this. I think Max, you were saying this a bit too, but this is like, we need to redeem this character. This character needs to be the hero of this franchise, at least for now, for this chapter. And they did an excellent job doing that.
Yeah.
And again, Jin did some shit, but let's move on.
Don't worry about that.
He did some stuff. He did some stuff. Yeah.
It's not even just the music. It's the fact that it's like, oh, the music kicked in. Wait a minute. It's Jin's old theme. Wait a minute, I'm actually old Jin. Like, well, I'm actually playing Tekken 3 Jin here. Like, this is fucking crazy. I lost my mind as like a Tekken 3 Jin fan. Some like 13-year-old boy that picked up Tekken 3 and I just loved it. That blasted me. I was like, holy shit, this is so cool.
Because Tekken 3 Jin, it's like, look at his pants. Look how cool his fucking pants are. Did you see his pants?
Yeah.
And the flame pants, that's all it took. That's all it took for that character to stand out back then. And like, it felt cool being Jin again. Not to say he was like trash or anything, but he went through ups and downs. You could, I don't even know, make a visual history of the character in video form.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, yeah, everything about that was so good. It even made me tweet about how Kazuya is the sickest dude ever. Like, and I know you tweeted back to me, Matt, with Genro and everything.
I didn't say he's the sickest. He's the most villainous.
He's the most villainous character because, bro, I mean, that was some good story. Like, I was really invested into this story about how he really was like, yeah, only the strongest can survive type of thing, right? So if you don't come, I'm just eliminating your country. I thought that was so cool, right? That's really cool. And he's just so powerful as well. I mean, I love the story. I probably rewatched like chapter 15 a few times already as well too. So it's really good, and even his character episode, amazing as well too. It made me love him even more.
Kazuya's, yeah.
I love that the audacity of the story is, we're going to make it as audacious as possible. You're literally in a meteor in space, ejected into the stratosphere. You are actually two deities fighting each other, like the power of heaven and hell. And then it strips away all of that. And it's a dad and his son shirtless on a beach. We're going to beat the shit out of each other. I loved it.
Because if it was one or the other, it wouldn't have been as good. But because you get both, and they were smart to rein it in for the last bit, like that was just the perfect way to do that. Here's some crazy shit that you've never seen before, quite in a fighting game. I mean, at its core, the story is very just anime tropes, but they're done really well. So I'd rather have something familiar that's done well than something that's like whatever Street Fighter V was.
Yeah.
Like that did have a bunch of anime tropes, but it was just so all over the place, where this is way more focused.
It's generic as hell. It's super tropey, but at the same point, it's also simplified and it's followable, which is in all the other Tekken stories like almost impossible. Even Tekken 7, it's like, we're going where? Now we're in a flashback. Now we're talking to a guy that talked to Heihachi at some point. Now we're in a volcano. Like, it just is nonsensical. Most fighting game stories are. And even NRS stories just teeter all over the place to get its narrative going. And then eventually what happens by the end of most NRS stories, you're doing something completely like unrelated to the majority of plot of the game. There's like no tournament at all. Like this, it doesn't really make much sense. So what I like about Tekken 8's story is that I think it's one of the best fighting game story modes ever, because it focuses on like fighting, like really importantly, like creating in-match moments of like this rivalry that's going to eventually swell up and make the entire game about that, make the entire game about building up the rivalry and this big moment, right? Instead of some, absolutely wild, all of a sudden God formed Triple Omega Azazel dropped from Mars and now there's this other thing, and it's like, well, they kind of do that but earlier. It's like, okay, we've thrown that aside. All it's doing is just empowering our bad guy. The bad guy is staying the bad guy the whole time. So, anyway, it's shocking to think that, the Tekken 8 might have actually one of the best fighting game story modes I think I've ever played.
Yeah, I'm pretty biased to it.
Yeah, like the only thing about Street Fighter 6's World Tour mode is that like that's much, much longer, and I was really invested in that, learning about the, characters you've known for a while. But, this isn't a spoiler, but a tournament does feature in it, but it's not given nearly the presence and the presentation of the tournament that's in Tekken 8's story mode. It's just kind of like, yeah, you're just doing little matches, and then you do like a pre-register at this arena, and then it's kind of drawn out, and then you're just fighting jobber, like, you know, like character creator avatars
Character creator, yeah.
for a while, and then you have one match that matters, and then it just kind of peters out because the world tour mode is not done. I'm assuming once Sakuma is out, that's done, and I assume that's when Max will be playing it. One day.
I don't know about that. The
So,
funny thing is, it's like World Tour. I have no
at
interest
the
in
end
actually
of
playing
Street
it.
Fighter, but you should,
Why?
It's fun. It has
because
really cool
there's
references.
fun shit in there.
Yeah,
It
it's
is-
really
it
fun.
It is fun, but at the same point, it's like I don't. There's an investment level to it that makes me not immediately interested. Like the jobber fights, I could see why so many people would be like captivated by this, but the fact that it is not a cinematic story mode, it is not. It's a world tour mode. It's designed to be something else. You're spending the majority of your time beating grandma's ass, or grandpa's ass, or the cop that was there. Like, you're doing that the majority of the time, which is fun, and I think it's actually great for single player stuff. But that is the stuff that has eventually, like, the gameplay itself of the game is so much fun that I've just dedicated my time to completely other stuff.
No, totally understandable, but you can really focus on the story missions, and all that other stuff is for, if you just want to get stronger. And that was on day one. I'd imagine you playing it now, like, you're not going to have that many issues. Plus, there is stuff that if you were to stream it, let's say Akuma comes out and then Capcom says, okay, there's like an end to the story mode now, a little
and there's
bit
an
for
actual
like
big boss fight.
for a season one, yeah, because
Yeah.
you have it's no secret, but you just fight JP at the end.
Yeah, I know.
And JP's just like, but there's so many cool fights against specialized characters that are Street Fighter characters. You must have seen a little bit here and there, and there's secret ones, and there's ones that I don't know if you've seen, but like ones deep from Street Fighter lore that show up on the map as special fights. Like, you can just check those out and like, haha, that's fun. But all the beating grandma stuff, it's just like, if you want items and things, like, it's
Sure.
like, you can beeline the story for sure.
But,
I just had a lot of fun with it myself.
Yeah, it was really fun, but I could see a reason why Max might not think of it's fun, because there is a point where you really do have to just grind levels
You do.
out.
I ran into that in the first hour.
Right, you have to grind levels out because you're gonna do no damage, so you're gonna do the same combo
Yes.
50 times. Because that's what happened to me, was that I had to grind to do like against JP. I was level 40 something, and I still had to do like 50 to 100 combos. Like, and it's just doing pixels, literally doing chip damage. So I think that's the really tough part.
And it's not treated as much like a fighting game. It's treated like an adventure mode, and they essentially, and there's nothing wrong with this. It's just that something for me, I was already running into this where it's like, oh, I'm gonna go fight this NPC and do the same 1-2-3 combo. The NPC does the exact same thing in response. It's like, okay, so this is good for people that have no idea how fighting games work, to get you to like, oh, now I take my turn, now I don't. It's like, I understand why the value in this, but for me, it is the least engaging shit possible. It's like, all right.
It's not super engaging at the
it's
start.
not.
But like the cutscenes that do get introduced and like learning about the characters and stuff, like a lot of the costumes that the characters have gotten are directly references to why they have those costumes in the story mode. Like Zangief's like vest and red shirt, like that was in the story mode. He explains why he even has that. So I just mean, like, in terms of Street Fighter lore, there's a lot of fun nuggets in there.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have Tiffany do a bunch of research and find out what items you can max out really, really fast to like blast through it. Like, have someone do a little bit of research and be like, yeah, this is what you can do to speed things up. Because people were able to figure out what items just get you the most XP the fastest, and you can grind it out way faster, because it took me like 25 hours, which is
took
a
while.
little long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it,
took
it,
a
it definitely
while.
it definitely took a while. And I know who Max fought as it's the one and you gotta climb up the ladder. You
The
fight the
Capcom guy.
Capcom superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah, Capcom guy. Because he was already like 10 levels above you. So it's like
And you beat him no
yeah,
problem. It just
you
takes
beat him
like
over. He doesn't block. Yeah,
it
he
just
doesn't
takes
block.
5 minutes of just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
But
I
you
know.
don't need to be Capcom guy. He's not required.
You don't.
know.
I think the only if there was like a big cool thing in the end, like a super unique fight, like if there was like a ultra devil Akuma or something, I might have more motivation to do it.
There is.
There's a devil Akuma.
It's not Devil Akuma, but there is a character that's like that, a legendary
It's
character.
an Avatar character.
Yeah,
that's
but it's
named
like
after him,
the
yeah.
box head guy, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those
I'm not-
rumors. One of those
I
rumors.
can't say.
I don't want to say, but
Okay.
it's like those April Fools type of jokes, but type of thing, sort
It's
of.
Batsu. Gotcha.
Yeah, get it.
Gotcha.
All right. So I saw this one, and Matt, you put me onto this, the Tekken 8 story DLC leak.
Yeah, did you
So-
see this, Max?
Yeah, so there's a
so
rumor
was
for a
this
DLC
in like an
story.
Amazon thing, or was this from data mining?
This is data mining.
Oh, are we talking about that?
I mean, it's in the game. There's cutscenes in the game that are just not used, but they're fully done.
Right.
So I don't.
All right. All right.
But overall, like I'm super excited when Matt told me about this, just because I don't want the story to end. So yeah, if this is actually a thing and it comes out, 100%, I would love the story to continue, and I hope they keep continuing it with the story.
Yeah. Without.
It just seems like there's characters that have stories that aren't fully fleshed out in the main game, and this just might be extra episodes for them. Because there's like one or two characters where it's like, how'd they get over there, or why?
Sure.
What was that explained? And it just seems like those cutscenes are in the game, just finished, voiced, and everything, just not accessible by normal means.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, that would be great to get
very
more
interesting.
cinematic story stuff for Tekken, just in general. The quality of what they put on display was so good that that has already shown to have a lot of success in the past with Mortal Kombat, with Mortal Kombat Aftermath. It's obviously happening with Mortal Kombat 1 in the future. So Tekken's got insane casual appeal, and it has a very digestible story sequence that I think people just want more of.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it's gotten so many like people like that stream but don't play like fighting games, but like they stream like other games that they're really popular, and they have been playing Tekken still.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like a lot of times people kind of like, okay, after 1 week it's kind of over, but I mean there's people still grinding. They're trying to get to that purple rank, blue rank, because that's like I think the plateau area is between those three is really hard for people to get past.
Oh, well, the real plateau for like the majority of people is orange ranks. Getting past like
Orange
the
rank, yeah.
dominators and stuff, and actually getting into red rank is really hard for the large audience. For like anybody that knows fighting games, like getting out of red rank is still pretty difficult, but like good for anybody that's really good. You're teetering on like purples and blues right now. And for like Tekken gods, you're actually above that. That's where the scale is moving, where it's
The
like the people that are
scale.
like the best in the game. Yeah, if you've been playing Tekken 7 for 10 years and stuff like that, you might be, an actual literal Tekken god. It's called that.
Yeah, because right now I'm in purple rank, like, and 1 away from blue rank,
Yeah.
and I realized, okay, I plateaued a bit, and now I'm like, I went through my move list, watching videos, and I wrote a Google Doc of like, these are the moves I need to add to my arsenal, right? And then like state what they do and everything like that, because once I start adding more moves, I was able to win more matches more frequently to get to that state. So now I'm just like, all right, what other moves that like the Feng player I'm playing Feng.
Oh.
What other moves that Feng Ways are using, and that's like that I'm not using. And I saw based off in their replays of like all these other Feng players using, I'm like, okay, I need to add this to my game.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see if that will work to get me to the next level.
Fangs are a nightmare for me, dude. I mean, granted, he's got like some of the best low pokes in the game and shit. That little ducking, like his little like
the down back 3.
Jesus, dude, it's so fast. And is that block launch punishable? Tell me.
It is. It's
Okay.
you can launch punish it, But it's really fast. Like
It's
you said, it
fast as
goes really
hell.
far, and it has a counter hit version of it
Yeah,
too.
I
So
saw
if
that.
you
It's like a
counter hit, it
launching
does,
counter
like,
hit cinematic thing. It messes
Yeah.
me up. I'm like trying to look out for this low, but it's like as soon as they start hitting 3 lows, now it's all mids, and I'm like, I need that low, man. Come on. It's nice getting to points when in just Tekken matchmaking where you don't
Yeah.
get people that only block high anymore, right? Like it's cool to be like, lows are also threatening and they will also open you up, which is where Tekken eventually evolves to, where it's like, yeah, people at higher rank are ready to block things because you want to block punishable low that launches their ass if you actually block like Fang's down back 3 or something. So
Yeah.
all the lower ranks are people just neutral blocking or holding back, and they don't care
Holding
about
back.
lows. And it's like,
Yeah.
this is kind of boring. Like, I can see why Tekken gets kind of more fun in red ranks and beyond when you're actually playing the game now. And people are actually sidestepping. Victor is getting notably worse. He is the most scrub killer character in the game. And now my bitch ass is so linear that the most basic of sidesteps are like avoiding everything I do. I'm like, shit, dude, this is becoming a problem.
Yeah, I was in that same situation, and now I don't even get opportunities to grab people because
Nope.
they just break all my grabs.
They break all the
right?
grabs, yeah.
Yeah, they break all the grabs, so it's getting harder to open people up. And people are sidestepping just because, like, if you're coming from a non-3D background, you're so used to pressing like linear buttons or buttons that like look like, okay, these are good buttons, but there's a weakness to them. Even though they're safe or plus, they can
Yeah.
probably be sidestep, and you get punished by sidestep moves. Right?
The thing you're probably going through also now, Justin, that I'm having to acclimate myself to is Tekken timing, right? Of not just like what attacks do you do when? No. At what point do you choose to do something? Because just sitting there and being
Oh, yeah.
threatening is a thing in Tekken. Just like
Yeah.
not doing something can be really
Not doing
threatening in
something.
Tekken because you're like, okay, so you're not immediately acting on Oki. So what are you doing? So I'll just sit there with Victor instead of going for like the big double low or the mid. I'll just hold it. And people just go,
Yeah.
they just like freeze. And you learn Tekken timing, which is actually only works against people that understand that game on like that little bit of a higher level. And then it gets kind of interesting because I just get Bryans that run up to me and they just sit in my face.
Stop.
And they don't do anything. And I'm just like, chill, bro. And I try to like do lows and jabs to like check them out, and they just like stay in my face. I'm like, huh, this is interesting. So they're just
It'd be
waiting
fun
for
if
me
they-
to hang myself.
It'd
Yeah.
be fun if they run up to you as Brian and then just stop and then taunt.
Yeah.
Just
They pretty much do that because they do like the shuffle step thing, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm
shuffle
about to get
step.
genned upward. This is bad.
Yeah.
But what they're doing is putting Brian in like perfect punish position for like any dumb thing you do, because Brian punishes crazy good in this game, right? So it's like, oh, okay, we're playing Tekken now. Like this is, and what it's done is that it's led to some really interesting matches, like matches at this level. People are like, Jesus, dude, this game is so much fun to watch because the mind games really start improving.
You guys must have seen the character usage chart, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it. Yeah.
Like, that's crazy that two brand new characters are like number 1 and number 2.
Victor's
Like,
pretty
I
cool.
can't think of like Reina's like, yeah, like 1,000 more percent
Yeah.
over Victor, but still, I can't remember fighting games where it's like the first 2 characters are like brand new. And Azucena is not much farther down either. So
Yeah.
I think
very
even
impressed.
Harada was surprised that Reina was higher than like Azucena. They were not ready for that.
Nah,
Yeah.
what? Why wouldn't she? She is a female Mishima. Of course she's gonna be so cool.
For some reason, they thought Azucena was going to be more popular.
Coffee.
I guess
that's why.
I guess maybe because of how easier, like she's way easier to
She's
play
way
compared
easier,
to
yeah.
the other two.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like it's all about the personality. A lot of the casual players are
Yep.
gonna like, see the character personality, what they're about. And if you play through story mode, you don't really get to see Azucena. Like it was kind of disappointing to see.
She's one
Azucena
note
in
AF.
story mode.
Yeah.
She's just whatever, right? She's literally an NPC.
And it's kind of shitty what she does too. She just
Yeah,
jumps
just
in. She's like,
NPC.
"I'll beat your ass. I don't care if I'm fighting for the wrong side." And she's like, "All right, I'm out," and that's it. But I
Yeah.
think it's the evil lady like kill me trope, like jury, and like it's
Edgy
there on
purple
Reina as
chick
well.
is a
Edgy
very hot commodity in fighting game space right now.
It is. It is
Yeah, that's
Melina.
true.
You know,
And she's like
it-
you said, she's Two-Faced, right? Remember, Matt? You mentioned
Right,
that,
right.
so that's
Love
really cool.
that.
That's really
love
cool.
that.
All right, before we continue this episode, we want to give a big shout out to today's sponsor, HelloFresh, America's #1 free meal kit. This is 2024, guys. Okay, 2024, and you know what that means? We're getting older, and we're getting older. That means we have to eat better as well too. We have to eat better as well too. And HelloFresh has got your back, right? Because the one thing that like they always want to make sure is that they have the healthy stuff. They want to make sure that the food doesn't have any of these bad ingredients, and they don't want to waste your money, right? Because the thing is, when you go to the supermarket, you might buy some excessive items and it's going to be gone to waste, right? So that's the most important part. And the fact that these experts are delivering your food right to your doorsteps to make sure they're fresh and you're able to cook an amazing meal for your family. Max, tell me about it. You do HelloFresh. You got a family. You cooking?
You fulfill all the categories. Yes. So yeah, we've actually had HelloFresh as a sponsor several times, and this is not a ready-to-eat, already prepared meal kit. We've seen a few of those before. This is not that. This is the whole idea is to get you more experience with cooking. So as you know, Jessica loves cooking. She loves seeing what ingredients they're using. They send you everything kind of like ready to go and already mostly prepared. And they give you this nice diagram of like how to do this. So if anybody is really trying to get into cooking, or you would like to make a skill set that is, you know, something that'll actually help you in life, which is knowing how to prepare food, it's pretty great for that. And their recipes are genuinely delicious, and everything that we've gotten from them has been fun to do and fun to put together and really good.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it, and the most important part for what they're trying to do is that they want to tell you that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So because of that, in fact, they really agree to that. So if you are a subscriber to HelloFresh and get a membership and everything, you will get free breakfast for life. So if you go to HelloFresh.com/TKO free and use code TKO free for free breakfast for life, one breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life, available for a limited time at HelloFresh.com/TKO free with code TKO free. It's highly encouraged because you know why? Because it's America's #1 meal kit. So get on it. All right. But I mean, we could talk about Tekken all day, but we have a whole lineup. Let's talk about some other games. How about Under Night in Birth? Under Night in Birth came out literally the
perfect day.
the same week, one day before Tekken 8, and unfortunately, it had a very bad start because the PC, all the versions, they kept crashing in terms of matchmaking, so it was really hard to get matches online as well.
Yeah, I was hearing nothing good about the launch of the game. Unfortunately, I think it's gotten better since then.
Yeah,
but there was
it's been like 5 patches
already. Well, it's good that they're working and actually distributing that fast.
Yeah. So, but the game is great. If you are a fan of like Under Night and like crazy combo anime games, but also like love neutral, this is the game. You can't mash in this game. It's actually really hard to mash because you get punished really hard. And the crazy part about this game was like I've been having a blast playing this game in terms of since the online wasn't working like that well. The trial modes, trying to learn these characters' combos were really, really tough. Probably like King of Fighters 13 type of level difficulty. So I thought that was really entertaining for me, at least.
So I've played older Underburst, but I just haven't had the time to check this out. Juggling Tekken. I'm also playing the new Prince of Persia, which I'm still like 25 hours in. So that's separating my time. But like, it's out on every console, or is it just PC? Or
it's PC, PS5, and I want to say it's on Switch as well too, possibly. But definitely, I know for sure PC and PS5. It has rollback, but there is no crossplay on it. So that's kind of unfortunate there.
Yeah, it's like, we got
it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to have everything, right?
Yeah.
But the other game that had a really great launch has crossplay plus rollback was Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising.
Yeah, we haven't had a second to talk about this because we did our like 2 other videos on other stuff, and then you guys have just been saying, like, I messed around with this for a bit, but you guys put some serious hours into this before Tekken came out.
Yeah,
right?
before Tekken came out, we were having a blast playing this game. It was really fun because they changed the pacing of the gameplay compared to Versus.
They made it more aggressive.
It was defensive, but now this is really, really aggressive, which makes the game so much more fun to press buttons. in, right? So
Yes, and it's also like I remember the first Grand Blue Fantasy Versus just being painfully slow, like
yeah,
snail's
me too.
pace kind of game. Where it's like, oh, okay, I can see why people would like this, right? But it's a very meandering kind of game for a very specific audience of like grounded footsie folks. And I'm like, I get it, right? It was right in that same time where a lot of fighting games were doing the same thing, where it was like, okay, we're going to this route now for the majority of things, but this is like the big mechanical upgrade of the game. So there's like a lot of new mechanics they added, a lot of speed boost in general to like how everything sort of works and operates, combo abilities, like all this stuff. I love it, man. It's so cool being able to like use those bravery points to convert like juggles and other things into like a grounded combo, and like, oh, I'm gonna slam you down. Now I can continue and bring you to the corner where the real combo begins in Grand Blue, right?
Yeah, that's really cool as well too. And like you mentioned with the bravery points, you get 3, but you can also gain them back by using your supers, your skybound arts. So that's really cool that they added that. I think were you playing Siegfried?
I was playing Siegfried exclusively because the majority of the roster in Grand Blue just didn't appeal to me at all, and Siegfried is quite literally just the Soul Calibur character. He's like based on the same old lore, like from the Siegfried of Germany. Like he's that guy, so he's very similar. And playstyle wise, he's incredibly fun, like super fun. So I just like grinded matches. I played it offline with friends. Like I really enjoyed the game, and then everything else came out. But just as a heads up, this game has a free-to-play version for anybody that doesn't know.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
There's a billion things coming out right now. I get it, but Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising is genuinely a really fun game with a lot of offline content as well. It's the best looking Arc System Works game in my opinion, and it is just free. There's like a free demo, like free to try version of it with like rotating characters.
Grand and 3 rotating characters every week, and you could still play online.
Yeah.
And play the people that bought the game as well too. So you could be a free to play player, and literally enter tournaments.
You say there's 3 free characters at any given time?
Rotating, so they won't be the same. It's like
so
it
it's
pretty
Grand
much they took the
plus
KI
3
model.
other characters.
Okay, cool. That's neat.
Yeah, so only Grand is the repeating character of the game, since he's like the poster boy of Grand Blue. And he's actually pretty sick. They made him pretty darn well. Like he's a really fun character.
And I just got done playing, like, it's crazy, 2 Grand Blue games came out, like Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising, and they also just had Relink that came out, and I just played Relink, and like Siegfried's also in that, so that's what I was interested. And it's also super fun. It has stuff like straight from the fighting game, because it also is coming from, you know, the gacha game that it's all based on. But like they're all super high quality. It's like, man, there was a lot of budget. There's some Cygames budget put into these games.
Yeah, I was watching you play Relink, and it made me realize, oh, I need to stay away from this game.
You should.
Because,
don't do it right now.
Yeah, because it's like it reminds me of like their version of Monster Hunter, but with
it gives that impression, but it's less Monster Hunter, more Phantasy Star Online, but like a simpler, like not PSO2, which is like weirdly complicated in New Genesis, but like sort of basic structure, straightforward, team of 4. Let's go on a quest. Let's go fight this shit. Let's get some drops. Let's go back.
Yeah. That's the hard part, is that there's so many really good non-fighting games coming out, and I'm like, I don't want to play Relink yet, because I will lose time and not play other games once I get addicted.
It's tough.
I know myself.
It's tough out there.
On these streets.
I know myself. I know, right? But another thing that was announced during the whole like Under Night and Tekken 8 stuff, their launch, was King of Fighters 15 releasing a new mechanic called Advancing
This is crazy.
Strike. Literally the same time frame, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
I'm feeling like this is mechanical overhaul to the game. I'm feeling like we might be sunsetting KOF 15.
I think so too.
Yeah,
right?
We might be done because Mark of the Wolves, or City of the Wolves, is definitely either being shown this year or is potentially releasing this year. We don't know. We've only seen so much gameplay, but there could be a big media blitz until that game's eventual release, like pretty soon. I think by the time EVO turns around, we're gonna know when that game's coming out. And there could be some last updates, maybe some final characters to KOF 15, but I think that game getting a couple years now is about right. That usually lines up with all the other games that they've released over the past like 5-6 years.
And it's not a bad thing to go out on having like one of, if not the biggest roster.
Oh no, they're good, man. Like they have
they're good.
that's a big ass game. Yeah, like their roster size is comparable.
I could see another special boss being added, like a final boss, like like Gil was like added and Seth in Street Fighter V or something. I could see that happening. But the last,
who are we missing? Orochi. We're missing Orochi. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Gonitz.
Was Gonitz the last one?
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah.
So
I didn't get the chance to play that.
Orochi would make sense, because we have team, Orochi new team. So that's really good, right?
And this is an interesting mechanical update, because if there's one thing that you notice when you first start playing KOF 15 a lot, is that on wake up you get grabbed a lot. You get grabbed by the person waking up. Like grabs are fast and they take like priority. So, and getting actual meaty attacks is kind of hard. It takes a lot of time to get good at that. So you usually do jump ins to time in meaties, right? Yeah. So this mechanic, I forget what it's called. You probably tell me.
Advanced strike.
Advanced strike.
Not Shatter Strike. Advanced.
Not Shatter Strike. Yeah. We also kind of similar. This is there to sort of counter like meaty grabs. And I'm like, that's fascinating. And if somebody did do a grab attempt, it avoids it and then returns. It uses like a bar. It returns half your bar if it's like blocked or landed, I think. Yeah. And both, then if the grab attempt was successful, then you counter them for it and get a combo. It's scaled, but you still get something, which is like, oh, this would have been very nice when the game came out,
Yeah. They only thought of it years later.
It feels like it took a lot of like stuff from Street Fighter 6 with Advanced Strike,
sure.
like with perfect
I was gonna say,
right, drive impact,
for sure, because you can also just do it in neutral, right?
Yeah, you could do it in neutral, and then if it hits or blocked, then the meteor comes back. So it has a lot of like resemblance to Street Fighter 6 drive mechanics.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's green.
What is it? Like seriously, what everything in every fighting game now has something that wants to disrupt neutral and let you get in, because And is it going specifically poorly? I think, obviously, to the people that like other types of fighting games that are a bit more like slow and controlled, these things are lacking control. The point of them is to spice shit up and make it so that this is an uncontrollable situation. So, I mean, I can understand why there's a lot of grimace from people about the whole situation where every fighting game is doing this stuff, but most of these games are kind of fun to watch now because there is uncontrollable stuff happening. Not every single match is going the exact same way. We're seeing similar offense, but if you have obviously stupid, dumb, neutral skipping offensive tools, then you need good defensive stuff to counter those tools, right? There's a push and pull balance. And a few of these games actually have that, like at least in Tekken, heat engaging a bitch and running their ass in and getting crazy stuff can be countered by heat engaging that bitch and doing your own bullshit against it, or just waiting. There's options there, which is nice.
It's just like there are options, like you said. It's just it's very scary to the people that are playing. For competitive folks,
I completely understand, bro.
Yeah, I am so glad that I'm just like not putting myself in that stress of just like putting myself in a 50-50 life or death situation.
You're a goddamn Marvel player at heart. You're fine.
No, but I was younger then. It's different now. We're older. We're older.
But people look at these like whack ass mix-ups in this game and you're like, this is nothing compared to incoming mix in Marvel, dude.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I think maybe I'm just used to it. Just watching, I'm just like, all right, whatever. Iron Man can guard break me.
And then Justin goes through his goddamn god brain mentality. I'll just block it and make them really frustrated.
No, but then when I'm blocking like something in Tekken and they put me like in heat and they do the heat dash and my character's like this,
and you're like,
I'm just like, plus 30. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm so scared for my life after that point. That's what I'm just thinking, right?
Because that's the tough thing. Like you can't just block in Tekken. Like just blocking takes a long fucking time and a lot of game familiarity. So like even somebody that is obviously super good at it like you, understanding game situation where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna block your whack ass mix up and make you frustrated. Yeah. That's hard in Tekken. That'll take a while to get there.
And there's chip damage now.
Yeah, that also, too. Justin, there's more threat.
Justin, for the last like 3 or 4 years, you've been playing like the widest variety of fighting games than when you were younger, right? You're playing jank games, you're playing games you've never heard of. You've seen the scariest bosses do the dumbest shit to you. So now you're like even more like scared of like just general stuff. Like with that, you've been exposed to like the general and Dino Rex and everything.
It's because when you're fighting against like AI, it's like you have to block, right? It's like you're trained there. But for some reason, when you're fighting against another human, it's like a complete different mindset, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's
AI
like
is about abuse. Finding a person that knows how to play the game, it's hard to abuse stuff.
Yeah, it is.
So sorry, I have to I have to talk about this. When Max is doing like a legacy and he's against a hard boss, and there's two of them I remember. It was in Fatal Fury Wild Ambition.
Yep.
That's a 3D one. And Geese does the cancel in like his super, and Max is like, why would he do the cancel? Why would the AI do the cancel? That's what humans do.
That's a human do.
And that's why AI has this innate like scariness to it.
Yeah.
Like it's predictable, but when it does something that's not predictable, it's like the scariest thing. Is am I actually playing someone online?
Yeah. I started this Boss Rage series in 2013, right? Of just seeing what the craziest AI would do in fighting games. And it just naturally built into a thing because as soon as I started fighting these enemies, it was like they pull out the wildest, most bullshit in the most clutch moments that it's almost hilarious. And I remember getting a lot of criticism like, how are you making fighting game videos about fighting the CPU? That's so lame. And it's like, well,
it is lame.
There is entertainment to it when they are fucking cracked and they're like insane.
It's relatable to a lot of people that has gone through the same similar experiences. That's the
when
most
they were
important
kids,
part.
like kids, you didn't have friends all the time to come over and play or go to the arcade, so you'd play the CPU. No, it totally makes sense. The other one is like when you're fighting Krauser at the end of Fatal Fury like 2 or Special, and he just goes like, it just shows Krauser and he's like doing a pose and he says something that, you know, I'll chisel your gravestone.
Yeah.
Sleep well. Gravestone. And Max just makes a noise. He just goes like, hug. Because Fatal Fury Special is like 18 fights.
Yeah, it's long.
It's super long. I love that moment. So when this transfers over to like modern fighting games, it's always kind of fun. Like and being wary.
I'm a little bummed. Like, and I didn't play the latest KOF bosses, but I'm a little bummed that they're not that hard. Like,
exactly.
I think that kind of sucks.
It does suck. I was telling like my friend that works. I'm like, come on, man, make it harder. Like, I don't want to beat him in the first try. That makes me really sad, right?
Yeah.
But
I get it. Like modern design sensibility, that's like the weirdest thing. Like to do that, I get it. I know why you wouldn't want to do that, but make it unlockable. Make it that like I want rip my dick off difficulty. Like let's go. Like let's get the classic SNK wildness in here.
Like whoever programs the AI at SNK, like, you know, Kyle difficulty in KI, find that guy, that guy's equivalent at SNK and name the difficulty after him.
Yeah. Friggin' Kyle difficulty would teabag you after they knock you down in between rounds and shit.
Why would he do that?
I was like, why would you guys put that in the game? And they took it out. They later took it out.
I didn't realize that. For KOF 15, I could see like final team is Team Maximum Impact, and you have like two Maximum Impact characters, and you have a Maximum Impact boss.
The cowboy guy?
You could have the cowboy guy Soiree or whatever, but the bosses are like Duke, who's like, you know, pretty SNK-ish.
Sure.
And he's just a big burly guy in a suit and whatever. Then you have that weird dude, like magic guy that has limb stretch, Jivatma. And like that's your final boss. Yeah,
Matt pulled that one out of the depths of his soul. Javatma.
A blue and white suit, and he's got like dark gray skin, and his limbs stretch, and he has like blades on his feet or some shit like that. Anyway, so like that's my pitch. SNK, it's gold. Please take it.
Yeah, hopefully, right? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But hopefully we get to see how Advanced Strike is going to work because their KOF finals are coming up next month. So yeah, I'm kind of curious if that's going to change like kind of like the meta and everything like that. And also, yeah, hopefully we get some City of the Wolf stuff, like maybe probably EVO. And speaking of EVO, they finally released their announcement a few days ago. So yeah, really excited about EVO.
It makes sense.
It makes sense, right? right? All the new games comes out, and obviously the retro title was a little game called Third Strike, which is really
Justin,
nice.
you have a high chance of taking that shit. You
so.
were going to Japan with Chun and like taking wins in 3S against like people that do nothing but play 3S.
I was. You're not wrong. But there's just a lot of players. Depends who comes, right? I think that's the main issue. But I definitely am gonna go to EVO Japan though, and play EVO Japan and practice a bit of Third Strike. So
speaking of that announcement, so yeah, for anybody that's like, yeah, Third Strike is the official game at EVO this year. It apparently is running on arcade, but we don't have a lot of like actual news on that. And we were saying, I think earlier in podcasts, where it's like, how could they do Third Strike, because you can't do Anniversary Collection, you can't do Online Edition, you can't do you can't do Fightcade, emulation's no good, you can't even do like a Mister or some crazy thing like that. You can't do that. It's technically not legal. And then I realized, like, back in the mid-2010s, Capcom re-released, and you probably saw these in Japan, Justin, they re-released Third Strike, like, Super Turbo and, like, Alpha 2 or some shit in arcade hardware. They were on, like, Nezuka systems or something like that. So it was, like, the collection of classic games that were re-released, and we were thinking, they're going to bring these out. I remember making a video about it back in, like, 2014, and they didn't. It stayed in Japan. But there were brand new arcade boards, like specifically for classic Capcom games, released for like modern arcade hardware. So I'm like, maybe they're going to use that. Maybe Capcom has like a whole bunch of those.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be really hard to use that, because I feel like people will still find a reason to complain. No matter how good. Yeah, no matter how awesome Third Strike is, we could talk about how great it is. The players they're very picky when it comes to Third Strike.
They play it's pretty much Fightcade or bust,
Yeah, it's really, really picky. Even talking to like other Third Strike players, they're like, I don't like playing on Fightcade because I could feel like 1 frame or 2 frames off.
That's
and
true.
I'm like, what? Like, it's so good. Like, Fightcade is like amazing for Third Strike when you're playing against online and stuff like that. But at least for EVO Japan, it should be really easy, because obviously all the arcades still exist and they have all the Third Strike cabinets, just like how they would bring their cabinets like they had last year for Cooperation Cup at DreamHack. I'm pretty sure it'll be the same kind of formula. But yeah, the USA, not sure how that's gonna play about. But knowing Rick, I'm pretty sure he will make sure that Third Strike will be at like its purest form.
And there's even more convention space for it this time around. So like whatever you're flying in hardware wise, certainly more room this time around, right?
Yeah, and Rick made the announcement that like the arcade space last year at EVO was pretty big. They brought in like a ton of arcade cabinets. It looked like 50 to 100 arcade cabinets. I was like, yo, what? And apparently that's upped way more now. So I'm like, okay, if you guys can afford to do that, then you can also afford to just bring in a bunch of like Third Strike arcade hardware, get some super guns and shit hooked up to them, get some USB converters, and allow people to play. And they'll probably have like a breakdown of like what controllers, which arcade sticks work, like which fighting boards work with this stuff, and they'll have to like tell you, because 99.9% it has to be on arcade hardware now. And I just didn't think that they'd be willing to do that. I'm like, this is a logistical fucking nightmare. There's no way. And it turns out they might be, which is like, damn. Well, if they're gonna do this, they're doing it the right way.
It's the lore, because this is the 20th year anniversary of the EVO Moment 37. So it's like they kind of have to pay homage to it, I guess, right? That's like kind of what they're going for in the vibe. And even Rick was saying this is like kind of a more of an old school EVO in terms of like how like there's no arena, it's 3 days, you can go in, come out,
it's like a Rio or a Bally's EVO.
So it's gonna be really exciting, because like that was my issue with EVO the last few years, was like, after Friday, Saturday, I'm bored as hell. I'm just in my hotel room watching the finals and then waiting until it's finished, and then go to the bar, right? So that's literally it. So
and for me, like the first 2 days wasn't enough to see everything or like hang out with anybody that I wanted to. There's still like half a dozen people where it was like, where do you want to meet? The convention space is closed now. Can't, whatever. So 3 days is the perfect amount. It's just enough.
So Justin, I have some questions for you based on your experience in Third Strike, like Japan, right? How is the game looking? Like, you obviously are going against some of the best caliber players, sticking to like mostly their guns, right? But how's the overall balance of the game looking? Because obviously Chun Yun, historically are pretty dominant, and you have quickly right behind that is Ken, and then several other characters like Yuri and unblockable bullshit. Like, so what is the game looking like?
I would say, I mean, you're still right on the money. The only other two characters I would probably add to the equation would probably be like a Yang and a Makoto.
Yeah, so Yang's always been good, and it seems like he's getting better, right?
Yeah, he's getting better, or people just have a better understanding of like how to kind of like use them in more situations, how to mix up people properly more. But I would say if because of how the tournament format's going to be, it's like 2 out of 3 double elimination.
Yeah,
it's still probably a high chance that we'll probably see Chun.
A lot of Chun and Yun.
And right in the top 8, right? But I would say Makoto can slip in for sure.
Oh yeah, because she's a robbery character, so she can all of a sudden like any strategy you have is fucked, like because you got command grabbed.
Yeah, like with Tominaga, probably best Makoto in the world. Like he's really awesome to watch, and I feel like he would possibly make top 8 as well too.
Yeah.
I really hope Hayo shows up because I had never lost to anyone really bad except for him, and he beat me really bad, and he beat me with Hugo.
Whoa.
I saw those matches.
He beat me 5 straight with Hugo.
Whoa.
Versus Chun-Li, and it
that's
was like
that's heavily favorable for Chun.
Very very heavily favorable for Chun. It's just that he uses his Gigas Breaker, the way how he uses like Super Art 1.
Yeah.
He can react to like any normal or dash.
Christ.
It felt like a macro. It felt like he had a button for 720. It just came out, and I couldn't believe the amount of times he pulled out that 720. So I really do hope that he goes to Evo and show off, because I think he would be so awesome to showcase Third Strike to a lot of like people that probably never seen competitive Third Strike before.
Yeah, seeing the reactions from like hit confirming like supers and stuff like that, like the actual reactions required from old Capcom games, how minor the buffer windows are. It's like, and even Third Strike is a bit looser compared to even Alpha 2 ST and stuff like that, but still it's wild to see like, oh, you're reacting to essentially 14 milliseconds of the startup of this move with like 2 360s. Like, what the fuck? What is happening here?
Yeah, but I don't know if we'll see a lot of like different variety, because thinking about like all the best players from like Europe and America and South America and Japan, it's obviously still going to be like kind of similar characters of like Chun, Yun, and Ken, right?
Yeah.
But it's Evo, and obviously anything can happen. Brackets, obviously luck can happen. So we can definitely see a lot of variety as well too. But if I had to guess, I think Chun and Yun will probably dominate.
Yeah. I think we have to remind people that like the big team tournament stuff from Japan that we've been watching for like high level Third Strike is very different. You know, having like different. Everybody play as like suddenly Alex wins. Oh God, is Alex hitting top tier? Dude, no.
Love Alex to win.
I mean, he has won those big team tournaments from Japan, which are really, really fascinating. But the structure of those tournaments allows for crazy shit like that to happen. And when it comes to like when push comes to shove in a typical 2 out of 3, you know, sort of situation, normal bracket, the Third Strike boils down to the typical Third Strike top 8s most of the time. So, but we'll see. Like, it'll be cool to see Makoto's in a top 8. It'll be cool to see like even Ken hopefully show up. I hope he does. But ultimately, like, it's a lot of Chun and a lot of Yun, and hopefully some disruptors. You get like a Urian in there that's just really good at shit. You get a Makoto, you get some Ken, you get some like you said Yang. That'll be neat. And then you get some wild shit. Like all of a sudden there's a Hugo. It kind of reminds me of like the Marvel finals. These games have been played and they are really figured out. Things are being discovered, but we know what works, and there's a reason why.
We know what works.
Yeah, and these games were not balanced ever. So there's good ample reason why they are played the way they are.
Yeah, it's old games. So old games in terms of like when a character is overpowered, they're really overpowered. So compared to modern games where mechanics really can kind of like help close that gap. Right?
Oh yeah.
Can we ask Rick when he has time if he can organize Devo for us?
Have all these random other tournaments,
can
right?
we talk
It'll be in the back alley of EVO.
Yeah. I mean, all the side tournaments do have their own separate stream, so you're gonna see a lot of other kind of games that are gonna be community ran and community based. Will be on like a separate EVO channel, EVO stream as well too.
There should be always one that's in the bathroom. Like it does like a different variety of games.
Yeah.
Not trying to pigeonhole.
It needs to be the size of like an EVO ballroom, but it looks like a bathroom.
It's a giant.
It's a
There's only one big toilet.
It has to just have toilets and sinks and tile everywhere. It needs to be, but it needs to be massive, like a Comic-Con style.
Like Birdie's Street Fighter Alpha 2 stage.
Stalls
in the
everywhere.
Yeah. No, that's
and
great.
the stalls are where all of the pool matches are. Everyone gets a stall. You're in stall 12, sir.
Yeah.
Stall 12.
Remember to
That's
flush.
your match. Right. You'll flush twice if you win the 2 out of 3.
Before I die, Devo will happen.
Right, Devo will happen. So speaking of one of the games that are going to be at EVO, EVO, Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat 1 obviously hasn't had the best limelight of lately, but they did release Chameleon and Chameleon as a cameo. But the cameo seems like it's really powerful, and everybody's using the cameo right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You guys are saying like to me earlier, I think last week or something when we went off the air or something that like everyone's using her super good. The fan lift is like one of her best assists because it just does everything.
Yeah, right? it's like you do like a string that crumples or like puts them in like a stagger state, and you can use fan lift to get the jump in and continue to combo from there. So it's like you could probably do like 2 times and get like kind of like a little mini loop going on. Think of the fan lift as like a air version of like Serena's like double boomerang assist type of thing, where you could just do it twice, right? But she can do other things, like she has a Melina version where she does like a jump attack as well too, which is really cool. But I have personally, I haven't touched Mortal Kombat 1 in a very long time.
You can tell that I haven't. I have not played as any DLC character yet.
At the time of this podcast,
none of them interest me.
Recording, Peacemaker also got like a release window, which I think is later this month. I think it's the 28th. I don't know. It's like right after Ed, and then also right along the release date of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is great. So I just hope he's fun. I just hope he's not like a RoboCop function. And if he is, that'll be the fastest drop ever, dude. Holy crap. If he's just like a RoboCop, because we don't have a RoboCop style character or like that kind of an archetype in MK1 yet. And I wouldn't be surprised if he is that, and that will do nothing for the game, right? I don't know if anybody's truly excited about Peacemaker in general, but if he is that, woof.
He's going to be like Deadshot or something, because like Peacemaker is just a guy.
I know.
Who has guns.
I know.
But he talks shit, though.
He does talk shit.
He talks shit.
Yeah,
okay.
So I'm hoping that he's funny when he's talking shit.
I'm God bless John Cena that he's voicing the character. For some reason, the dude playing Homelander has confirmed multiple times that he's not playing Homelander. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. They got his face, but not his voice. That happens very rarely nowadays.
Yeah.
Back in the day, like the 2000s, that would happen a lot. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But like Peacemaker, nothing against him. I enjoyed the couple episodes I watched of the show, but it's like probably the character I was looking forward to the least.
Yeah, like, I never watched that show really either.
Yeah.
I saw the movie. That was it.
Yeah, I saw the movie too. He's good in that.
Yeah, he was like, sick. Yeah,
just guy with guns is like, well, can we just have Aaron Black again?
Aaron Black was pretty cool. I like Aaron Black.
Yeah, I know he's cool. That's what I mean.
Yeah, he was sick. I mean, we'll see. I mean, maybe there will be a lot of the other fixes that people are talking about, like heard like there was desyncs and stuff like that. I haven't got a chance to play, so I can't really say like, oh, that's been happening on my part. So it's kind of unfortunate to see. I see a lot of people just like, yeah, we're not going to run tournaments until NRS fixes it. So that really hurts a lot of like the competitive scene for NRS, and they're still doing their NRS esports stuff. So I'm not sure when those finals are up, but I mean, it's going to be at EVO. So I think that should get like a jump in terms of like competitive drive for a lot of people. But yeah, hopefully the people at NRS will fix all these issues that they've been hearing about from the fans.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I just hope that game's eventually something that everybody loves and is super fun,
Yeah, it was really fun. You know what? I know why it all messed up. It's because they nerfed my boy Baraka, bro. They nerfed Baraka, and that was it.
And
You're not wrong, because like, I think
that's it.
after that patch, things
Right?
kept getting worse.
Yeah, they killed
Cyrax
Cyrax.
was the beginning. Cyrax getting hit as hard as he did was like the beginning of, oh no, that was like the start of it. And unfortunately, I think Mortal Kombat here's just a lukewarm take. I think Mortal Kombat 1 did a good job at making us think that there was a lot of freedom and creativity in the game, right? Making us think there is. And then you start playing it a bit and you realize how stifled the majority of the assists actually are, like after a couple of weeks, and that most characters' strings are just, oh, you're doing the same thing, like a lot, like the same combo, the same thing, like over and over again. It's like, it's starting to, this is feeling like it's not that exciting to watch. And it's fun to play, but it obviously isn't super exciting to play. It's like, you're like, wow, there's some hype moments and stuff. There's actually no moments in MK1, believe it or not. If you think about like the moment to moment combat, there is no big like this happened, like that's like a fatal blow, I guess. Right. That's about it. Like it's mostly they called an assist, but as much as crushing blows sucked, they were moments.
I was gonna say they were absolutely, there was something that really unexpected that could happen, because they're hard to do.
And they broke up like this. It's a sort of like really straightforward, almost like 90s approach to what the gameplay is. Now it's like, obviously fighting games need to be engaging in a way to make moments. You need to have, your bravery point got spent. Oh no, they were out of it and now they're going to get countered. Like that doesn't exist. Like there isn't like, oh, I punched their assist so hard that they're on the ground coughing blood and they won't be back until the next game or some weird shit. Like that doesn't happen. It's mostly straightforward in terms of what its game plan and gameplay is providing.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully they fix all that type of stuff. Yeah. So we'll see. And the next thing just came out literally right before we filmed this podcast. Ed's gameplay trailer. He's finally out, boys. How do we all feel about the high pitch fast boxer himself?
When Ed first was revealed or came out for Street Fighter V, that's when I kind of almost pretty much gave up on the game until the last season, where some cool characters started. When I saw Ed's design, I was like, no thanks.
I didn't play him at all.
Yeah,
you didn't play him at all on 5
at all.
I don't think I downloaded because his default design, I hated it so much. Just Bison Trooper, like Bison that Trooper. Slightly more stylish Bison Trooper, and I was just like, I don't know, I don't really like this. This trailer did a lot to me. Like, oh, okay, all right, now just fully stylish boxer with like Nero's arm.
Yeah,
that
Nero's
can
arm.
snatch
Devil May
you.
Cry-ish.
So now I'm kind of on board. I'm still not 1,000% behind his default look, but it's way better. Obviously, fits with Street Fighter 6. So I'm interested. I'm gonna give him a go. It's certainly more interesting to me than both Rashid and Aki were.
Oh, how dare you?
Sorry.
How dare you?
I still like Aki though. Just it's not
but
my
they're
style.
all in the
of
same
character.
vein of like kind of weird characters with weird gameplay.
Weird
like
character, weird gameplay.
Rashid's gameplay definitely got weirder than SF5. It got more complicated and kind of like he's not the same kind of character anymore. And then Aki was the epitome of weird gameplay, but in my opinion, super fun, way more fun than Rashid. So I'm hoping that Ed's gameplay is the same as like Aki, where it's like, I'm not really interested in this character, but if they're managing to do something that's just fun, I'm down. There is good news. And this is good news for me personally. I hated that Ed was essentially a modern control character in SF5. Immediately was like, I don't know if I want to play this. It's just weird, like holding down buttons and all this like shit. I'm like, I don't know. It's the stuff I actually don't like. They announced that modern control Ed is back, but the classic controls have motions now.
Yeah,
okay.
That's actually, it's interesting because I feel like a lot of people who probably love Ed or played Ed competitively, I don't know if they will like it. Actually, I'm curious on the conversation or like what people think about the difference between that, like, because that's a huge change. It's not just like kind of like 1-2. It's literally a complete reverse.
Yeah,
new stage too as well.
The new stage is great.
See.
Yeah, the new stage is cool.
Both Aki and Rashid used existing stages that were just kind of sort of themed towards them. So new stage is always nice. New stage, there's almost like if whatever company is making the game can always put one in, like always put one in if you can, because it just freshens the game up a little bit visually. Like it's something new for people to look at. So I always appreciate that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were mentioning, Max, how he's like classic controls and everything. He's gonna have Shoryukens and Hadoukens motions, right? The classic motions. So that's already a huge change.
Yeah.
Another second huge change is that he doesn't kick anymore.
No.
He actually has no kicks at all. All his kick buttons are replaced with like sways or flickers, kind of like how
He's
Fox
Steve
is in
Fox.
like Tekken. Yeah, he literally is like Steve Fox with the flickers and the stance, because he seems like in the trailer that he has a stance kind of thing with like his Dempsey roll.
Yeah.
And I find that really interesting because that means he's a sort of a 3-button character.
Maybe. Yeah.
With like 3 different kind of unique special attacks, I guess. But yeah, super excited to see, because obviously I think when it comes to his supers, they're pretty traditional, right? Level 1, hit. Level 2, cycle ball, his V trigger 1.
It all looks great.
Level 3,
like,
yeah,
it genuinely. I think all the DLC
Level
characters.
3 was hype.
I think
Yeah,
all
the
the
sandbag,
characters look great so far. The problem, I think, has been the distribution and choices. It's like casting, right? It's like a casting director. I think in terms of fighting game roster casting, this is a very whack ass first season of DLC to put into Street Fighter 6. We should have gotten like 1 or 2 of these characters maximum, but the fact that like 3 out of 4 were that, and then obviously Akuma. Like Akuma is where everybody's just waiting for fucking Akuma, dude. Like it's just where the majority of focus is.
The first character should have been like a Sagat or like like a legacy character.
Makoto,
then,
something.
Third strike character, great choice, and then 2 like new characters or fresh takes, whatever you want to say, and then like another legacy character. Like technically Ed is a legacy character, but not really.
We literally got 3 returning Street Fighter 5 characters, and Aki, as much as she isn't, she also is. So. It's rough, man. The people do not have fond memories of these characters specifically from that game in like a general capacity of non-hardcores, right? So I think that if we're to like rate this first season of DLC, dude, I rate it really low. It's like a 4 out of 10. I think the choices here sort of put people on a snooze fest of their first DLC like choices. I just hope that they know that and they're like, okay, so we're aware of this. Our second season's going to be massive banger. Hopefully we'll see it at EVO or something like that. I hope that happens.
Yeah.
And I hope whatever the season 2 will not be leaked, so it makes them even more deflating.
Yeah. Hope so too, right? But yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. The only way I feel like the season 1 will be saved in terms of like your number will go up if Akuma is if Akuma is just the craziest thing ever.
Put Akuma in it, give him a crazy boss fight, like actually make him like a really dope, like the way we did in Street Fighter 5 with some of the bosses. Do that, like give him a wild ass Shin Akuma boss fight or something like that.
That would be amazing.
That'd be amazing.
Because you can't just put him into World Tour mode like they've been doing with the other characters, and you like be friends with Akuma. Like,
bro,
how are you supposed to?
He has a cell phone.
It might be like Pokemon, bro. You go into like this cave to fight the Mewtwo and everything like that. It's gonna be like that, bro. That's how it is.
But you can't be giving Akuma gifts. Like, how are you supposed to sell that? That's like the Undertaker.
What do you mean? He's so true to the animated movie.
Yeah, I know about the animated movie. It's just like, that's what I'm saying. Like Max's like crazy boss fight, like put Akuma in as the crazy end boss fight of like season 1 being complete for World Tour mode.
That would be amazing.
That sounds like a great idea.
Test your metal. All your fighters are worthless to me. Go beat Akuma's ass, like, because he's gonna beat yours first. Like, there needs to be some big culmination of like the end of this season with its single player content, and also. This is the most popular Street Fighter character, potentially in the whole goddamn roster.
Yeah. I mean, and then if a season 2 rolls around, maybe like a new region gets added into World Tour mode, like a new environment to explore. And that's basically it. Like, you can filter in the rest of the characters that happen in season 2 in there, because now it's getting crowded. In Metro City and in the other country, I forget, Made Up a Stan. Like now there's too many Street Fighters everywhere. They're just shoulder to shoulder. So yeah, maybe make a new region.
I'm actually kind of worried. I was reading the PlayStation blog with like how Ed everything, and maybe I'm reading too much into it. So like he formed this group called Neo Shadaloo, it's like his new like Shadaloo and everything. And he's
Yeah.
saying that like he's like recruiting all these other like freaks that has
People
been
that
like
were
left
experimented
aside,
on.
experimented on. So I'm just hoping that
Necro.
But it didn't seem like for nefarious purposes. It didn't seem like he's being built up as like the new Bison or something like that. It seemed like for like not bad guy reasons.
yeah, I guess I just don't want to see kind of like personally like these random characters, my like jobbers or anything, to be as part of like
Falk
a
is
DLC,
back.
you know? Yeah, that type of
Who?
thing. So I don't want that. I hope not.
No, but at the same time, like I think Neo Shadaloo is hinted at somewhere in Street Fighter V. I forget now, but like, yeah, that's kind of also weird because we don't need another new faction. There's just the groups in Street Fighter have gotten too much. Like you don't need groups and concerns, and Zaibatsu is like that's a Tekken thing, but like there's too many going around. We don't. Not everyone needs to be in an NWO. You know.
Okay. Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, he's coming out February 27th, so I'm pretty sure we're just gonna try him out and give our feedbacks, how cool he is or how weird
I
he
definitely
is.
do want to try them out.
Yeah.
So we're gonna check that out. But Matt, tell me about this Arena Fighter Netcode Warrior. That's literally the name of the game, Arena Fighter Netcode Warrior.
This was announced today on the time of this
Today?
recording.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a new arena fighter called Netcode Warriors. The character designs are done by the original Digimon designers, but like they're all the hyper like last final evolutions, so they'll have cool armor and shit.
Yeah, I can see that.
And they make rollback netcode a big part of it. I guess if your game is called Network Warriors, it has to be, but it actually looks pretty sick. It's like, you know, very superhero-esque, like anime looking heroes, and they're doing cool air combos and shit. And right now this is announced for PC only.
Yeah.
But yeah, looks some people just looped us, a few of us in, me, Kenny, I think Max as well, on Twitter about this like right before we started. And I was like, whoa, this looks pretty cool, and out of nowhere.
So as a heads up, this was a game project that I was approached a few years ago on, and I don't want to say too
Really?
much, but this was finally coming to head. It's coming to fruition. It looks cool. It looks like a lot of style to it. And I believe, and I have to think back to it, I believe they asked me for likeness rights. And of course I was like, sure. Like no issues. Like if anybody wants to do that with fighting game stuff, I literally have like no problems as long as you ask me and stuff. So
yeah.
we'll see if something eventually comes to fruition, if that eventually happens at some point in the game.
Max, if you turn into this Digimon monster,
It'll be
I
just
would
like
love
real
that.
life, bro.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah.
And then-
You're at least modded into most games, or
it's
the people
getting
make or people make Victor close enough to you anyway.
That fucking stupid clip.
That's amazing clip.
Right. So I mean, I'm pretty excited. It looks really good. Like you had me on Digimon because once I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, it does really have that Digimon vibe and everything.
Yeah.
And it looks like the
Digimon are
attacks feel good.
Digimon are the champions.
It's like
you know?
It looks
Digimon
good.
cross Jet Set Radio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it reminds me of, right? So yeah, definitely make sure we'll check this game out. Whenever it comes out and everything like that. So yeah, thanks for that. And now the other game that has we've been talking about, and they finally have the demo. Sega versus Capcom. The demo has been released to the public, like a little playable demo, and I think you only get to play 2 characters as X and Sonic.
Yeah, but those are the characters you want.
Right, X and Sonic, and it felt really good. Like I played for like a few minutes, and I thought it was really good. Obviously, it's just like a super early, probably not even alpha. So in terms of like how combos work and everything, probably doesn't really make too much sense because there's no like flip out, or it seems like there's infinites everywhere. But in terms of like how these characters were made, how they feel when you press a button, it feels really amazing. Actually.
It does.
That's good because it doesn't have that crunchy indie game fighting game feel. It doesn't have that.
Yeah,
No.
it does
That's
not
great.
have that.
That's
Yeah,
great. And I haven't had a chance to try this yet. And like Lin Kurosawa's in like the core roster when they eventually release it. This is a fan game, by the way, for anybody
Fan
that's
game,
like
fan made
Sega
game.
versus Capcom. What the hell's going on? This is a fan game. Fans were just like, we'll do it ourselves. And it actually is like unique characters, unique animes, unique art style. Like it looks really cool.
Yeah,
everything about
I'm
it.
not gonna lie. When I booted it up and like Lynn wasn't one of the playable characters,
You were
like,
sad, huh?
Darn, but like
Yeah, you were
X and
sad.
Sonic make sense too. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, it felt good. It did, like, it does feel and kind of look a bit like Tatsunoko, like in
Yeah,
how
a little
it
bit.
controls, but it's not, it's not like a one-to-one translation of
Sure.
that or anything. But that was the closest like similar game to it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I hope they can continue developing this and nobody gives them any trouble.
Sega or Capcom, you
Yeah.
chill. You guys
And,
just
uh,
chill. You
chill
didn't see
Yeah.
that.
Out.
Yeah, I don't see anything. But also, I think the one cool thing is the music is really good. I think they had the Infinite, the one that made Third Strike.
Oh, nice.
He's
I didn't know
actually
that.
doing the music in the game, with
That's sick.
Fahrenheit. Yeah, which is really cool. So super excited. Hoping they release more characters because I personally want to play Akira. So that's like
Yeah,
my
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I'm waiting for Akira.
Axel for me.
Yeah, Axel for you. So, yeah, really excited, and hopefully they release like more stuff. And because I think the feedback's pretty positive for the most part, for all the fans and everything. That like this is like such a really good fan made game.
Mm.
Right. So let's see. And the last thing is this artwork from Capcom Cup. Capcom Cup is coming next week. Somebody will get $1 million for playing fighting games, and this is before tax, obviously. So yeah, eventually you'll get sad next year. But someone will be winning
Matt,
$1
this
million.
art sucks. I'm just gonna tell you. I'm gonna interrupt everybody. This art sucks, and it shouldn't be on the box art of anything.
The
know
art
what
is
the artwork-
amazing.
The artwork should be just Luke making a dumb pose. I love Luke's voice actor. Alex is the best, but this artwork is so goddamn good. It is everything it should have been. New gen, old gen. Their arms are literally circling each other so they
Yeah.
form a fucking six.
Wow,
Fuck you.
Yeah, it looks
this
amazing.
Fuck
this
you,
is
Capcom.
amazing.
So at the end of the Ed trailer, right, with this artwork in mind, this has been like 2 weeks now since this has been out, this artwork. And at the end of the Ed trailer, they still show the old box art of and I'm just like, oh, when are we gonna switch this? We have to switch it in season 2. When season 2 rolls around, like, please, God, please.
Well, usually they have a new box art for. I mean, this is during the Xbox 360 days, where you have to actually have to buy the updated version of the game. So they did have that, but I feel like we might be in a different era where that might not
Yeah.
happen anymore.
Okay, so but when Street Fighter V had Champion Edition, they had
Yeah,
Ryu and Chun-Li. Great box art. They had
that was
Ryu
a
and
while
Chun-Li on
though.
there.
Yeah, that was a
It
long
was a
time.
while ago,
It was a long
but-
time.
What was the final version called?
Champion Edition.
Arcade. What?
Was it called Champion Edition?
The one with Gil on it.
That was Champion Edition.
Yeah.
So what was the one? Was the one that was called Arcade Edition, or am I
Yes.
crazy?
You are right.
Which one was which?
The physical. So the first one was Ryu. This.
Yeah,
that was
yeah, I was-
vanilla.
it was-
And then Arcade Edition had like. Let me just look it up.
Ryu and Chun-Li.
Yeah, it was Chun-Li on the front doing the cool pose. Yeah,
Yeah.
And the last
And
one
then
was
Champion Edition.
was like Gil. Yeah.
Yeah. So that to me like is
no,
three
no,
different.
Arcade Edition was Akuma. It was
Oh yeah,
yeah,
the
Big
Akuma.
one
Akuma's
behind.
back pose.
Yeah, back
What
pose.
you're
Okay.
thinking of is the Championship Edition one. That was the final one. It also had Gil in the background.
Okay. So that's like three distinct eras, and I'd like to think that they like. There's no way Capcom marketing. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Max. Just posted that. I forgot about that one. Honestly, I did.
I
and
did
it's
forget
sick,
about that
though.
one too. Yeah.
Like when Akuma comes around in Street Fighter 6, change the box art
Yeah.
to Akuma.
I agree. Well, they have to like repackage it. You need to like, there has to be a redistribution of the game with more content. So
Yeah.
I hope that happens. I hope we get to Super Street Fighter 6.
My only gripe with this artwork though, Matt, it's great. It should have been
What is it?
Ken. It should have been Ken and Luke.
I don't don't
Ryu's too iconic.
Well,
Ryu's too iconic.
No, it's
It-
I'm not saying it because of like Ryu's more iconic. It's more of just like the amount of Luke's
Storyline.
the amount of Luke's and Ken in Capcom.
Let's go.
That's
It's
the reason
more
why
appropriate.
it's more appropriate in the competitive scene because every Ken player is like Luke is better, and every Luke player is saying Ken is better. So yeah, that's why I would love it to be Ken and Luke, because there's only one Ryu player in Capcom Cup, Ending Walker, like lonely as one Ryu, while there's like 10 Lukes and 8 Kens in Capcom Cup. So that's a big amount, you know.
You've convinced me. You've convinced me. Imagine if box arts were like based on like, so Tekken 8 is just gonna change to Victor and Reina on the cover.